everyone, happy Tuesday. Today we are going to do 3 looks with 1 palette, and the choice of that palette is the Natasha Denona Biba palette. This is one of those palettes that went on my wish list. I've just heard really good things about it and I think it's absolutely stunning. So I thought it would be fun to show you what kind of looks you can create with this. So we're gonna do 3. So I'm really gonna keep it focused on the palette and I'm just gonna film my eyes, but I will have the description of the rest of the products I use linked below. Before we get started, I would love if you would hit that subscribe button. It would mean so much to me, and without further ado, we'll get into our first look. So to start with, I just used my MAC Painterly Paint Pot just to prime my eyelids. We are going to start with the shade Tusk, and I'm just gonna put that all over just to kind of lay that primer down. Set the primer, basically. Nothing too fancy with this color. Next, as sort of like a transition going into crease shade, I'm gonna go into this freckle shade. It's just a light brown. And I'm taking the same brush too, so. We're just gonna pop that kind of into the crease and a bit above just to kind of get a transition shade going. Next, I am actually looking at this shade called Tone. I think it looks really pretty and we're gonna see what it does. I just taking a smaller blending brush and I think we're gonna put this on the outer third of the eye. It kind of looks a little more yellow on the eye, like more yellow than my transition shade. We'll see. And I'm actually gonna take this color more into the crease as well. It's not as dark as it looks in the pan, so we'll just put it in the crease too. Actually, I think I'm gonna do a halo eye because I like the color. It's not as dark as I thought, but I do like the color. So we're gonna pop it here on the inner corner of the eye as well. Now let's do the same to the other eye. Now we're gonna deepen up this eye look a little bit. I'm gonna go into this color called Pasha, maybe? Hopefully I say that right, I'm not sure. But we're just gonna deepen up our halo here. We're gonna stamp that on the outer third and also on the inner portion. And with this color, I am not going to connect it together in the crease like I did the previous color. I just like the effect that this darker has, not connected. All right, now of course we can't forget the sparkle and shine, so we're gonna go into this shade called Shine, and I'm just gonna use my finger to apply it to the center of the lid. Obviously, you can use a brush if you would like to. I just find this the easiest and most efficient way to actually get the payoff of the color. Now we're gonna go back into our first shade, the Tone shade, and we're gonna blend the halo portion. Just on the edges here, that way it doesn't look like matte glitter. Matte. And I just like to dab at that edge. Some people like to really blend. I just find dabbing is the most beneficial way for me because then I don't get glitter across the whole lid. And I'm also gonna take a little bit more of that color and clean up the top here. And I picked that first color we used, Tone, because it's a bit lighter and it actually matches the glitter really well, so it's not such a drastic color change. And then it even looks more like a gradient effect on each side. So you've got the glitter in the center and then it gets lighter and then it gets darker. And I like that look, but you don't have to do it that way. It's just a preference. We'll clean up the top over here. I kind of feel like some of the shine left when I was blending it, so I'm just gonna take a flat brush and dip into that shine color again. That way I have a little bit more control and can add it back to the center of the lid. So this is the look that we're going with today. I am going to finish the rest of my makeup and we will come back to finish the under eyes and put some mascara on. Alright, so now that the rest of the complexion is done, we are going to finish up the lower lash line. And we're also going to make that halo effect on the lower lash line. So we're going to start with our Tone color again. And we're just gonna build that up on the outer third and the inner portion of the eye. The other side going as well. I put on the Fenty Gloss Bomb and all I can smell is how good it smells. I poked myself in the eye. Not good when you're trying to work on the lower lash line. Okay, now we're gonna go into the darker shade, the Pasha shade, and I'm just gonna pinch the brush and put it again on the outer third and the inner. Now I'm gonna go back into my flat brush and go into the Shine Shimmer. Just pat that right in the center, creating that halo effect. All right, and now for the inner corner highlight, I'm actually going to use the highlighter that I used today, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Superstar Glow highlighter. And we're just gonna pop that right in the inner corner. That way we can brighten it up a bit. Looks like I got a touch too much on this side, so I'm gonna go back into the little brush that we had the dark color on and just try to blend that a little bit. I am going to put on my lower mascara and we will be right back with the finished look. Alright, so here is the finished look for look number 1. What do you think? I actually really like the halo eye. I kind of surprised myself actually that it worked out so well, but I do really like it. Let me know what your thoughts are. If there's another palette you would like to see this look, the 3 looks, 1 palette on, let me know too. I'm always interested in hearing what you guys are thinking. Other than that, stay tuned and we'll get into our second look. Alright, so let's start look number 2. I did go ahead and reprime my eyelids just so you guys didn't have to wait for me to do that. Now, the cool thing about this palette is it's got these 2 gray shades down here. They're like the 2 random cool tone shades in the palette, so I thought it would be fun to do a cool tone look and maybe we'll add some of this black too. I'm not super confident in black, so we'll see how that goes, but I am excited to use the grays. First and foremost, since I did put eyeshadow primer on, I am going to set it with the shade Tusk. Again, nothing too fancy here. I'm just placing it everywhere I placed that eyeshadow primer. And not in a super heavy layer either. Then I'm going to take the same brush and I'm going to dip into the Sculpture shade, the lighter gray. From here, we are going to put that in the crease and a little above. Actually, I changed my mind. Because they're both matte shades, we're not gonna have a shimmer shade. So I'm gonna place this all over the lid as well. And it's a super light gray. It's not meant to be super dark or show up super pigmented. And because we're going with an all matte look, the purpose of putting it all over the lid is so that the inner corner, like the inner third, stays light and bright, because the other 2 shades are quite dark and I don't want my whole eye to be dark. Now I'm going to go into the shade Tour, it's the darker gray. And we are going to build up the outer third. I like to just tap the eye first. That way I don't get all the pigment in just one spot and then have to try to blend it and then it becomes patchy. I just kind of like to tap everywhere that I want that color to be and then blend. And again, these are very pigmented colors, so I'm just going in light layers until I build it up to the depth of the color that I want it to be. Now we're just going to blend it out, and I am going to drag it in to the inner eyelid, but only in the crease. I'm not going to bring it down over the lid. So what I'm noticing is this particular color, I'm either going in super light-handed, or the payoff, the pigment payoff is not as intense as the other shades, because it is taking a long time to get it to the depth that I want it to be. It's kind of like every time I blend it out, it disappears. Now we'll start on the other side and see how long this side takes. Okay, I know what I did. I was not getting enough product on my brush. I was going in super light-handed on the other eye, because this side did not take nearly as long once I kind of packed the product on. Just a heads up, you kind of have to put a little bit more product on for this color. Next, I'm grabbing a itty bitty brush and I am gonna go into this blacker shade called Spot. And I'm just gonna draw kind of like an eyeliner, and I'm just gonna start in the middle and work my way out. Here, I am going to grab just a blank brush and I'm just gonna try to smudge it out. I didn't want a whole lot of black, but I wanted a little more depth. I don't exactly like how that turned out. So I'm actually gonna let me do the other eye first before I get too much black on my blank brush. Now we're gonna smudge this side out. I like how it turned out better on this eye. It did what I wanted it to do, and this side looks a little patchy, so. Okay, so now I'm just gonna take that blank brush. It's got a little bit of smudginess on it, but I am going to dip into the black shade and just kind of deepen up the outer third. Hopefully this black shade will be like the darker gray, where if I'm going in super light layers, it's gonna take a while to build up. And then maybe it won't be so intimidating to me. So I am really liking this black. I'm actually using it to kind of create a more V shape on the outer portion of my eye. And it might look like super too low right now, but I will clean that up with a makeup wipe. And when there's a lot less product on my brush, like basically none, I'm gonna take it over all the way into the inner third, but not down. So it's just gonna sit like right below this bone here. All right, so I kind of feel like I lost a lot of the light brown in the inner corner of my eye. So I'm actually gonna do a little bit of a cut crease. I'm gonna take some concealer to kind of clean that up, and then we'll bring back the lightness to it. So the way I do this is you just look straight, relax your face, and then you can see where fold is in your eye. Like for me, mine is right there. And then when you open your eye, you have a line. Another good way to do it is just dab some like right by your lash line, look up, and then mine barely left a mark, but it will leave a mark where your fold is. And then from there you can create the arc. So now that we've got our portion cleaned up a little bit, we are going to, this is actually like a little concealer brush, but it's nice and small. So what I would like to do is now I'm gonna go back into the lightest gray, the sculpture shade, and we will set the concealer and also keep the lightest gray in the inner portion of our eye. And now we can just blend it out. Let's do the same to the other eye. And then on the edges, I actually just press a little bit harder because you've got to, one, blend out the light gray to the dark gray, but you've also got that layer of concealer that you've now just set. So I just press a little bit harder and try to blend the light into the dark. And then you don't have such a harsh light dark line. Something we can also do is go back into the darker gray shade, the Tour shade. Just take a little bit of extra and just tap it right on that line. Be sure not to like blend it back and forth, because then you're dragging a darker shade into the light shade that we just spent time cut creasing to get. But I just tap along that line, and then I might even drag it out. So this is the upper lid portion of the look so far. I don't think I'm crazy in love with it, just because I really like shimmer. So like if it weren't a video strictly based on the Biba palette, I would probably grab another palette that I know has gray tones in it, but has gray shimmer tones, and pop that on the eye somewhere. But for an all matte look, I'm actually really liking it. I just prefer shimmer, so that's my only beef with it. I am going to finish the rest of my complexion, and we will come back to finish up the lower lash line. All right, so now that the complexion is done, we're gonna finish up the lower lash line. Guess what I found? Okay, so I remembered from my Black Friday video. If you haven't watched that one, I will link that above. But I got these cream gel liners from ColourPop, and I found a silver one. So we're gonna test it out. I'm really excited about it because it does have a little bit of sparkle in it. Also, I must say, the more I did my makeup, the more I put everything together, the more I did like my eye look and how it meshed with everything. So it's just kind of about trusting the process as well. So yes, I would have liked glitter on the eyelids, but I'm actually really excited to try out this gel liner, and I am really liking the look now. We're gonna start with a darker gray shade, the Tour shade. And I just pinch the brush, and we're gonna start on the outer third. And I'm actually gonna bring that about halfway in. And then next, I'm gonna use that little brush that we used to put the lighter gray on, and I'm gonna put that on the inner half. Alright, so now we're gonna try the eyeliner. I'm really excited. I am just gonna put this in the waterline, and I don't want to use my finger because I put all my makeup on, so I'm just gonna use my damp sponge to pull kind of my eyelid down so I can get it in the waterline. Ooh, yeah, I like that. And I actually just kind of brought it right up into the corner and started to go up a little bit, but I'm not gonna go further than that because it is a matte look. But I do like the effect that it has. I'm really happy I found this. It might take a little while to get used to eyeliner. My eyes got super watery. Anyways, I like the way that worked. So I'm gonna finish up my lower lashes for mascara, and we will come back with my final thoughts. So here is the finished look. I am actually very, very happy with it. Sometimes I get it in my head where I finish my eyelid and then I'm like, I don't like that. So sometimes it's just a matter of, again, trusting the process, continuing on with your makeup, and finishing your look to really figure out that you do or don't like it. I think this gel liner absolutely saved it for me because it just gave me enough that I do really like it. So I'm very happy with it. And again, this palette has so many options to it. I just wanted to be able to show you guys what you can do with these cooler tones because it is a very warm, neutral palette. But sometimes you get sick of brown. So I just wanted to show you what you could do with it. I'm very happy with it. So I hope you like it, and stay tuned and we will go on to our third look. Alright, so the eyes are primed again, and let's start number 3. For this look, I think we're gonna do a little bit smokier. I'm really looking at this rustic shimmer. I really wanna try that one. So, to begin, as the other two, I'm gonna set the primer with the shade Tusk. Again, it's just a light layer just to set that primer down. Don't even have to be super careful about it. So for my first shade, I am gonna go into Freckle, this light brown. We are going to put that right in the crease, and it'll be a little bit of a transition shade as well, so in my crease and a bit above. And I'm actually gonna bring it pretty far down, that way I can create a kind of like a cornered eye shape later. We'll do the same to the other eye and pull this down as well. I'm really enjoying this freckle shade. It's a lot darker in the pan than it is on your eye. Next, we are gonna go into this darker cocoa shade, and I'm just taking like a fluffier, it's still like a flat packing brush, but it's a lot fluffier. And I am just going to push that right on the outer third. Actually, I've changed my mind. I'm gonna put it all over the lid. Do the same to this eye, and I know it's looking a bit intense right now and it's not blended into the lighter freckle shade, but I have an idea, so hang tight. Okay, before we get too far, I am gonna go back into the freckle shade, the lighter brown, and we are going to blend it. This way it's not such a light, dark, drastic line. The thing about blending though is I don't want the dark brown to go too far up. I still want the brow portion here to still be very light. Now I'm gonna go into this rustic shimmer shade, and I'm gonna pop that. I'm just gonna use my fingers like I normally do, and we are going to pop that right in the center of the lid. And I'm actually going to take it all the way into the inner corner. I wanted to see what it looked like first before I went all the way in. And basically putting that darker brown shade underneath of it just makes this appear a bit darker. It gave it like a base. And obviously with my fingernails, I can't get all the way into the inner corner, so I'm just gonna take another flat shader brush, put a little bit on my brush, and put it all the way in. I'm actually really liking that shimmer shade. I think it's really pretty for a deeper shade. I don't typically do that, so this is what we're doing with this palette. We're exploring. So for, I think, our final shade, I am gonna go into the deepest brown. It's called Seed, and I think I'm gonna deepen up the outer portion here just a touch more. And I'll also use that to blend my shimmer line. It's okay to be like a little messy down here. You can always use a makeup wipe to clean it up. That's typically what I do, that way I don't have to be super careful. Now I'm using just a blank blending brush. There's no product on it, and I'm going to smooth out my edges. I'm gonna go back into our first shade, that freckle shade. And I feel like this eye has a higher like ombre effect, so I'm gonna put a little bit more of that freckle shade up on this eye, just so it starts at the same height. Going back into my brush with no product and just going to blend. This is a very dark look, which is not normal for me. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to take a little bit of the Shine shimmer, and I'm just going to take my finger again and I'm going to pop that right in the center of the lid, just to bring out a touch more dimension. And it helps make your eyes look a little bit bigger when you got a really good bright spot right above your pupil. The important thing, especially with my eyes, is because my eyes are so hooded, I really have to make sure I get that bright shade right at my lash line. Sorry, I wasn't trying to use my middle finger there. That way you can definitely see there's a brighter shade there. And I got it a little bit too high, so I'm just gonna go take a blending brush and blend that out. One more sweep around the edges with my brush with no product on it. All right, and then this is what we have for our eyes so far. I'm going to finish up my complexion and we will be back to finish up the lower lash line. All right, now that the complexion is done, let's go finish the lower lash line. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna mix Cocoa and Freckle, and we're gonna stamp that on the outer third. Well, kind of drag it. Do the same to this eye. And then I'm gonna take that shader brush that we used for the darker shimmer and stamp that on this half. On this side too. And then I think to complete it, I'm gonna take another shader brush and dip into that lightest Shine color. I'm gonna stamp that right in the center like we did the top. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take that Shine color and make that my inner corner highlight. All right, so I'm gonna finish up the lower lash line with mascara and we will be back with my final thoughts. So here is the third and final look. I am actually really enjoying it. I haven't ever really explored with deeper shimmers before, so this is really cool to me. I like how it turned out. I don't know, you'll have to let me know which look you liked the best. I had a lot of fun filming this. It did take 3 days, but that's okay. It was fun to do. Let me know if you guys have another palette that you'd like to see 3 different looks with, or if you have any other video ideas that you would like. Anyways, that's all from me today. Before I go, I would love if you would hit that subscribe button. It would mean so much to me and help me keep this channel going. Other than that, I will see you on Tuesdays and Fridays at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and I will see you then. Thank you. Bye.